Hi skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com. We've got another 2022 ski review for you today, this being the 2022 Dynastar M-Free 99. I've been looking forward to talking about this ski for a while. I've actually been skiing this particular pair for almost a couple of months now, on and off. Yeah, I've had some good experience on them. As kind of a refresher for 2021, Dynastar pretty much redid their entire line of all mountain and freeride skis. So we got the M Pro skis, then we got the M-Free 108 and 118, and then we got M Tour skis as well, which pretty much, that took the place of like a ton of other existing skis from their line, like No More Legends. And there was there were some rumors or whispers that we might get this ski for next season for 2022. We even went as far as to kind of poke and prod enough in a couple meetings to the point where Dynastar said, yes, we're going to make that ski. But we couldn't really share that information with you until now. So here it is. This is the M-Free 99. In a lot of ways, it's just a narrower M-Free 108, but I do think it has kind of its own personality as a ski overall, even though it has a lot of the same characteristics as that ski. So let's start with construction. I thought we'd bring the Swix bench in here when we talk about shape so we can really kind of analyze some things and compare it to other skis. Yeah, starting with construction, we get that same hybrid core that we got in the M-Free 108. Which carries over to 2022. That ski's not going anywhere. So we get a combination of poplar and polyurethane in this ski, or PU. So in the center of the ski, in kind of a longitudinal axis, so like if you were to draw or trace it like that, it's basically that's where the poplar is sitting. There's a poplar core in the center of the ski. That PU then sits along the edges of the ski, so to speak. And it's a pretty interesting blend of materials. They also actually wrap that poplar wood core, they wrap it in like a fiberglass sleeve or like a fiberglass sock that they call torsion box. Now, poplar is a pretty common material in ski construction. It's relatively strong. It's a relatively stable, energetic material that's also not too heavy. It's not like tremendously dense. And then that PU material is pretty low density, and that actually adds in some vibration damping and gives the ski a smoother feel. It's not twitchy or not chattery or anything like that. It's very, very smooth. It also brings the weight down quite a bit. I brought some notes with me today, which I don't often do, but this ski in this length, this is the 179, this is 1,850 grams per ski. The 181 Menace 98, which this ski is replacing, and we'll talk more about that as we go through, that ski is 2,100 grams. So there's no metal in this ski, but it's got a pretty damp, quiet feel, and they're dropping about 250 grams out of it from the ski it's replacing. Now, these skis do have different personalities, which we'll get to, but pretty darn cool. So it's cool to see that hybrid core work in the M-Free 108 and now carried over into this 99. And that's kind of a theme with all of Blizzard skis right now, or at least the M skis, is they all have a combination of different elements in their construction to result in the feel that they want. Now, let's talk about shape, because I think shape is really important in this ski. When that ski came out, the M-Free 108, I was really excited about it because it's pretty symmetrical in terms of its rocker profile. So there's a lot of skis on the market with more tip rocker than tail rocker. We usually, when we're talking about skis like that, we use the word directional in the sense that it is 100% designed to be skied in one direction, that direction being forward. This is a less directional shape, which is a big reason why I was excited about that ski, and I'm excited about this ski too. So this is the biggest reason why I brought my notes with me is I did some measurements because Dynastar didn't have a ton of this in their catalog. This 179 I measure out to be a 178 like measured length, which makes sense. Like normally it's not quite exact. If people are wondering why, ask in a comment and I'll tell you why that happens in ski construction. So 178 centimeters in total length. There's 36 centimeters of tip rocker and there's 34 centimeters of tail rocker. So that's pretty symmetrical in terms of the rocker camber profile. Now, since we're on the topic of rocker camber, there is quite a bit of camber. 60% of the ski is camber, which isn't a lot, but it's enough, and it's pretty high-rise camber too. We did this kind of same thing. Like I looked at the camera through the ski. I think that was maybe the Rustler that we did that with, but pretty high-rise camber in this ski, which I again think is important to their overall performance. Now, there's also, there's varying degrees of early taper. To me, this is kind of like right in the middle. This is smooth early taper. It's not drastic. I'd say it's like a little bit more pronounced of a taper shape than we see in like a ski like the Enforcer, but not much. So smooth taper, we're not losing a ton of surface area up here like some skis, so we should get good float still, but it should also be maneuverable as well. Now the last thing I want to say about shape, and I will get to this again when we talk about performance, probably closer to the end of the video, is because it's a relatively symmetrical rocker camber profile, there's a variety of different mount points that you could go with on this ski, at least in my opinion. There is one recommended line. They don't have like a team line or anything like that. There's one line on here. That line is 7 centimeters back from what I measured out to be true center, which is about right there. Now, I was testing them at about 6 centimeters back from true center, so about 1 centimeter forward from the factory recommended line. And I do think you can go further forward than that too. And like I said, I'll touch on that later in the review when we get to performance. So, if somebody has more of a freestyle background and they want more of a center-mounted ski, this is something that you can do that on. With that tip and tail shape with 36 centimeters up there, 34 in the tail, that means the center of the camber is pretty darn close to true center, 1 centimeter back, if we're talking about just like the measured center of camber. I always tell people don't go forward from the center of camber, so that's basically where your limit would be on this ski. I haven't tested that, but I would imagine that you can go all the way up to about 1 centimeter back from true center. So that's shape, very, very similar to the M-Free 108. Let's talk about performance. Let's start with groomers, because we often start with groomers, even though this ski is like really fun off a groomer too. It does pretty darn good on groomers. I do think this ski, the Menace 98, feels more powerful. And let's just take a look at like the rocker profile compared to the M-Free. Pretty long rocker in the Menace too, but not as much splay. So this ski being heavier and with essentially longer effective edge, like there's not nearly as much taper in this ski, you're getting more edge grip out of this ski and kind of like more of a powerful, aggressive feel. But I still think the M-Free 99, considering everything else it can do really, really well, which we'll get to, it still carves pretty darn well. I give a lot of credit to this camber underfoot. If it didn't have that much camber, I don't think it would have enough like kind of spring or responsiveness out of a turn. Now the thing that I found, and I know Bob found this too, because Bob actually had this fall happen to him. We don't have it on video. If we did, I would 100% put it in this review. But you can't really drive the forebody of the ski like you can on other skis, which makes a lot of sense. Like if you were to directly compare it to another Dynastar, like the M Pro 99, you can push pretty hard against the front of the ski, even though that ski has pretty long rocker too. There's metal up there to support it. It's a stiffer ski in the tip. If you initiate a turn in the forebody of this ski, because there's so much tip rocker up here, and because the flex isn't like crazy stiff, It's a pretty forgiving, kind of easy flex pattern. You can kind of get the tip to fold a little bit too much, and you might feel like you're going over the handlebars. So certainly not like a frontside carving ripper, but if you're initiating turns laterally, we talked about this a lot, if you're staying more balanced, which makes a lot of sense considering the shape of this ski. If you're balanced in the center of the ski and you're kind of just initiating turns laterally, they do make some nice carves. Like, you can still carve on this ski if you're the type of skier that skis with a lot of balance and a lot of finesse. You can actually get it to make some even like dynamic, pretty high speed, pretty responsive carves. It's not like I said, it's not like crazy powerful, like to compare it to the M-Pro or like a Bonafide or Enforcer. It's not even really in the same conversation, but it will make pretty nice carves. Now, what it can do on groomers that a lot of those skis can't do is it makes those kind of rhythmic skidded turns really, really easily. The edge release out of the tail of this ski is super, super intuitive. It does like whatever you want it to do. You don't even have to give it much skier input. It's kind of one of those skis where like you just think what you want to do and the ski's like, okay, which is really cool. And it's nice to have that capability in the situation where you need to dump speed or you're just trying to like play around on the side of the trail and you're not just like opening it up into like big arcing super G turns. So on groomers, it's a versatile, fun ski. It's not like tremendously powerful, but it's pretty fun. Now, off trail, this thing is just a weapon. And that's something that we talked about with the M-Free as well, or the M-Free 108. I keep just saying M-Free. With the 108 as well, in how flickable and how maneuverable that ski is, the same carries over to this ski. The ability to make quick pivoting turns on groomers, that same performance carries over into woods, into trees, into softer snow conditions, pretty much any kind of snow condition. Like, we actually had a thaw freeze cycle here, and then we got like 9 inches on top of it, so there's kind of some crusty, grabby snow under there. This thing kind of doesn't really care whatever you're going over, and I actually give a lot of credit to that PU material in the way that it's not like jarring. It's not the way that it's interacting with the snow surface isn't just going like, it's not sending vibrations just straight into your body like some skis can. Like when you throw a ski sideways on like boilerplate and it's just like, it like feels like it's shattering your teeth. This ski never does that. It stays very smooth and very compliant and very, very supple. So very, very quick, really, really good in trees. I think a lot of people here in Stowe would really benefit from this ski in the woods. Something that I said in the written article is like, if you make a mistake, it's not punishing, it's actually forgiving, in the sense that, like, to me, in tight trees, if I start getting a little too fast, if you make a mistake, it's almost like a moment of panic where you're like, I really need to like slow this down and slow this down however I can to not crash into that tree or that tree or that tree or that tree or hurt my ACL or whatever. This ski kind of feels like it's like, when that happens, it feels like it's slowing down time, because you can make such quick movements on this ski that I felt like I could do more in the same amount of time as I could on a heavier ski with less rocker. So super, super agile, which is great. And then really good float too. So like I was saying at the start, how there's not like tremendous taper up here, there's still some good width in the tip. That's really helping. We were lucky enough to have some soft snow conditions to test this in, and yeah, I think it's a really good ski in soft snow. I think for somebody here in Stowe or an eastern skier, for a lot of people, this could be your powder ski. We had a similar conversation with like the Rustler 10s and the Enforcer 104s. Obviously those are getting a little wider, but not much. This is kind of all you need for most East Coast powder days. I think somebody out west would probably be looking to this ski more as like a powder ski, or even the 118, and this would fall kind of more into your daily driver. But even in that sense, you still, if you're out west, chances are you're going to encounter some soft snow, even just like not on a full-on powder day, and that's where the float of this ski really comes into play. Um, that's pretty much it for performance. I do kind of want to touch on the freestyle aspect of this ski, or the freestyle influence. I personally had a lot of fun just kind of like popping little 180s all over the place, all over the mountain, skiing switch, adding in some switch carves when I was just linking forward directional carves. I love a ski that can do that. Many of you may know that I ski the Nordica Soul Rider 97 a lot, and I like it because I can do a lot of those things. I like this ski for the exact same reasons, and if anything, I felt like I could kind of do more on this ski because of the amount of rocker it had in the tip and tail. Maybe not quite at the carver of the Soul Rider. That ski doesn't have as much rocker, as much early taper, so you get longer effective edge. Much more similar to that shape. So maybe a little stronger in a carve. But yeah, this thing is just buttery and playful and so easy to flick around. I would really like to mount it closer to center and ski some park on it. This one didn't belong to me, or doesn't belong to me, so I didn't feel like I wanted to slide any rails on it or anything like that, but I do think that it would be really fun for that application. And I think there's more and more kind of freestyle influence, or park people with freestyle backgrounds or park skier backgrounds, that more and more of those people want a ski with this shape, with this much rocker. Just gives it such a playful feel and a little bit more versatility for the rest of the mountain and softer snow conditions, which I think is great. So that's it. That's the M-Free 99 from Dynastar. If you're bummed out that the Menace 98 is going away, we do have, last I checked, we have a fair amount of these skis, and these skis are really good too. I put this in the written article too, and I think it's worth saying here too. This is a great ski. It is exceptionally similar to the Rossignol Black Ops Holy Shred. The Holy Shred stays in the line for 2022. Many people know that Rossignol and Dynastar are sister brands. So I think it makes a lot of sense that Dynastar kind of went in a different direction with this ski, rather than continuing to make a ski that feels a lot like what Rossignol does. So that's it. That's the M-Free 99 from Dynastar. Pretty darn exciting ski for 2022. I don't believe there are any early season releases on it or anything like that, so you probably won't be able to pick one up until this summer or going into next season. But yeah, a lot of fun. Definitely let us know if you have any questions about it. I can understand people wanting to know kind of where this falls into the mix of skis that are out there right now. So don't hesitate to leave a question or a comment, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And we will continue testing more skis. We got a ton of stuff to share with you guys over the next 6 months or so. We've really been working hard and spending a lot of time on snow this year, testing a bunch of skis and filming as much as we can. So pretty excited about everything going forward, and we will see you guys out there on the slopes.